everybody, it is Talitha here, the Natural Hair Confidant, coming with another thank you guys so much for all the compassionate emails, the compassionate messenger chats regarding my mom's house fire. Some of you may not have even known my mom, totally lost everything in her house. But everybody made it out safely. Everybody's all healthy. Things are kind of getting back to normal. So thank y'all so much. But I finally had an opportunity to get through all of the emails and all of the messenger chats after the live webinar. Thank y'all for showing up. Oh, okay. It was amazing. We talked a lot of information, and because we did talk a lot of information at that webinar, people had a million questions afterwards. And so I kind of just feel like maybe that webinar was a little bit too lengthy, because it was almost like 2 hours. It was a little bit too lengthy, and too much information was packed into it instead of just focusing on one little thing at a time. So if y'all don't mind, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take the next 20 days, because believe it or not, we are exactly 20 days away from today, the new year of 2020. And I am ready to give you that 2020 clarity that you are looking for, figuring out why your hair isn't growing, why none of these damn products aren't working, and what the heck you can do about it. Because you can't go on like this, right? I absolutely feel your pain, because remember, I was just where you were 3 years ago. Because just like you, I was sick of it. Sick of it on 1,000%, because I absolutely thought that I had done my due diligence. I read the reviews. I looked at all these people talking about having all these growth. Oh, I was so excited. I ordered the product. Really? 30 days, 40 days, 60 days, 90 days, nothing. Waste of time, waste of money. Not what this girl is about. One of the reasons why I really want to break this down is because I know that you guys have been taken advantage of by countless other products, just trying to get you to buy the product and use it, whether you have growth or not have growth. That claimed they were going to work, never did, wasting your money and not having any time or any growth. Because if it worked, you wouldn't be here right now, right? Right. So let's get this 2020 clear. So here's what I'm about to do. To make these teachings as efficient as possible, I am going to break it up over the next course of 20 days. Because if you realize it or not, today, December 12th, we are exactly 20 days away from the new year. So what better way to bring in the new year than getting this 2020 clarity on why your hair is not growing, why those products are not working, and what the heck you need to do about it, right? Because that's the way to bring in the new year. It's going to be a new year, new you, boo. Okay? So let's get into it. Now, in the webinar, when I talked about the ripple effect, I think that was the part that confused people the most. So we're going to start with the first ripple effect, which is traction alopecia. Okay, so the ripple effect is actually the reason why you're not having hair growth. And what the ripple effect means is one thing you have done has caused a ripple effect into other things, and those other things compounding together is the reason why you're not having the hair growth. And so the first ripple in this ripple effect is traction alopecia. Okay, severe traction alopecia. Clients who look like this. So let's define traction alopecia for a second. The actual definition. Traction alopecia is defined as a gradual hair loss caused primarily by pulling or force being applied to the hair. So it is basically caused by yanking and pulling, tight hairstyles, chemical. It can also be from a chemical reaction. It is basically caused by yanking and pulling your hair out from its roots. It can also happen with a chemical reaction. That's how I lost my hair initially. I don't really want to say the name of the product because that's neither here nor there, but I used this gel that everybody was raving about, and back in during this time I was an ER nurse, and I used to like to wear my hair in slick buns. And I used this product for about 30 days, and it took all my hair out within that same 30, but it took me almost half a year to grow my hair back. But most women are having so much trouble growing back because of this ripple effect. So traction alopecia is caused by the yanking and pulling of your hair out of its root. That traction alopecia is what is known as trauma. If you yank anything out from its resting place, sitting place, if I yank my shoulder from its socket, it's trauma. If I yank my leg from its hip socket, it's trauma. If somebody punched me and my nose, my jaw, anything gets yanked out of its original alignment, it is trauma. Although your hair follicle is little, it's tiny, you can't see it. When you yanked your hair out of there, it caused trauma. Now, traction alopecia causes trauma to your hair follicles, and the trauma that is caused to your hair follicle then turn into an inflammation, because if your shoulder got yanked out of its socket, the tissue swell, the white blood cells go to try to see if it can help it heal. It has an entire inflammatory response in the body. Same thing happens with your scalp. It has an inflammatory response. That inflammatory response is the first issue in why you are not having the hair growth you're looking for. And that is called shock loss. Now, before I get into explaining it, let the experts explain it to you a little bit better, and then I'll come back and jump in, okay?
Movement on the scalp, so this will really help create a minimum scar for Mike. If everything goes as well as it should, hair follicles should grow through whatever little scar that he has.
Look at how well it's coming together with nothing. Nothing. There's no tension. Tension is what kills hair. I'm very optimistic for Mike's surgery. But you never know. One of the things you worry about when you do a scar revision is that you can get shock loss, which is basically a wide area of hair falling out for about 6 to 8 months. This can happen even when you do everything perfectly, and Michael needs to understand that. Well, I'm really pleased with this, aren't you?
So there are two important things that I need you to take away from the video. The first being this.
If everything goes as well as it should, hair follicles should grow through whatever little scar that he has.
That man said the hair follicles should grow through whatever scar he has. We haven't even had a scar in our hair for the hair follicle to grow through. If you think his hair follicle could grow through a scar, don't you think it could grow out your head? Yes, but why is it not happening? The second thing that I need you to pay attention to is he said this.
Look at how well it's coming together with nothing. Nothing. There's no tension. Tension is what kills hair.
Tension is what kills hair. Now, what is traction alopecia? Traction alopecia is the tension, pulling, yanking, trauma to your hair follicles. Does shock loss only happen when someone goes and has a scalp operation? No. It happens if they get a transplant. It happens if there is any type of trauma to your hair follicles, and your hair follicles be like, what's happening? And they freeze. They basically play possum. And it happens over a period of 6 to 8 months where they just go dormant. Now, because you did have this experience, it caused you to do something else. So because you have experienced shock loss, that caused you to become embarrassed, because what is shock loss? Shock loss is when your hair falls out, when the hair follicles go into a shock state and your hair follicles fall out for a period of 6 to 8 months. And so when it started, if this happened to you and you experienced it, then when your hair started to fall out, like this client here, she covered it up with a wig. Now, you've been informed that wigs are a good protective style, but when you are experiencing shock loss, they are your worst enemy. And that brings me to the second ripple effect. Now, y'all know I get long-winded and I can talk on and on and on. Make sure you come back tomorrow so you can find out exactly why the wig is the hair growth killer. You do not want to miss it. You got to get that 20/20 clarity. All right, until next time, I wish y'all the most growth. See you then.